Hello, welcome to the Boulder Bookstore YouTube channel. My name is Stephanie. I'm the Marketing and Promotions Manager here at Boulder Bookstore, and it is my birthday, so I'm doing my birthday videos. So I'm doing 2 videos, and in this video I'm going to talk about 5 of my favorite authors. And since it is my birthday, I do have to start with J.R.R. Tolkien. We've got this great copy of the Silmarillion, and I have to start with Tolkien because my birthday is September 22nd, which if you are a Tolkien fan you might know is International Hobbit Day. And it is International Hobbit Day because September 22nd is also the birthday of Bilbo and Frodo Baggins. In fact, the Fellowship of the Rings begins essentially with Bilbo's long-expected party. It is his 111th birthday on September 22nd, where the whole thing starts. And actually, if you read the books, you also know that it's on just after Frodo's 50th birthday, where he decides that he's going to head out of the Shire with the ring. So he has his 50th birthday party, which is really him celebrating Bilbo's birthday, because that's been like his tradition. And then they set off. So September 22nd is an important day in the realm of Tolkien-ness. So it's always been my special connection with Tolkien, because of course I love Lord of the Rings and all of that. So it's always been it's been a fun day for me. It's International Hobbit Day, my birthday. Yeah. So I've got the copy of the Silmarillion here just because if you are a fan of Lord of the Rings and you haven't read the Silmarillion, you really should. It is a bit of an undertaking, and I would definitely recommend having like a Tolkien dictionary and some family trees along with you while you're reading, because there's a lot of people, a lot of names, a lot of elves that have names that begin with F. So having a little bit of guidance is a really good idea, I think. It's also, we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of the first Peter Jackson film, the Fellowship of the Rings. So if you like the movies and you like the books, I would also recommend the Ringheads podcast, because they are 2 comedians that got really into the Silmarillion during the pandemic. So that podcast is them just talking about Tolkien and the Silmarillion, and then they've been doing like a deep dive into like the movies, comparing like the movies with the books, and it's been super fun and entertaining. So it's my recommendation. All right, next up, Mary Roach. I adore Mary Roach so much. I'm pretty sure I've read all of her books. Well, I'm halfway through Fuzz. By the time this video comes out, we'll be done with Fuzz. But so Fuzz is her new book, which comes out on the 16th. It comes out very soon. I think by the time this video is airing, it will be out. So that is her. Basically, she is a science journalist, and she likes to pick a subject that she doesn't really know much about and just go and find everyone across the world who's doing research on that particular subject. So her first book is Stiff, The Curious Lives of Human Cadavers, which is all about the curious, like what happens to you when you die, what happens to your body, both in like just in general what happens, but also like the book actually starts with her in like at a cosmetic school. Like she walks into a room that's full of heads, because they're gonna do the surgeons are gonna practice rhinoplasty on cadaver heads. So it's kind of a dramatic way to start a book, but that's so classic Mary Roach. She wants to like go and watch someone do something, and if possible participate. Like she always wants to like get in there and do the thing. A lot of the times people are like, no, you can't do that. And she just relates everything in she's so funny. And one of her classic things are the footnotes, where she just tries to get in the extra random, bizarre things that she has found out during her research. And I adore Mary Roach. She is great. You should read everything that she's ever written, because she's the best. Next is Juliet Marillier. This is the first book of hers that I ever read, which is Daughter of the Forest. It's a little bit worn now, and they just came out with some newer covers. We've sold out of Daughter of the Forest, we've got more coming in, but this is the 3rd book in this particular series, Child of the Prophecy. So this is a semi-historical fantasy series set in Ireland, and each of her books tends to focus on a different character, but this is from the Seven Waters, well, originally called the Seven Waters trilogy, but she wrote more books about the area of Seven Waters. But this first book is based on an old Irish fairy tale about a sorceress that turns 7 siblings into swans. So that happens probably not as early in the book as I think it does, but Saoirse is the 7th child and only daughter in her family, and basically her mother dies in childbirth. Her father remarries, and everyone knows that, like, well, except for him, obviously, everyone is like, this woman is bad news. Like, she is clearly a sorceress who is trying to take over, but no one can convince the father that this woman is bad, and in order to get rid of the other children, she is a sorceress who tries to turn all of the siblings into swans. But Saoirse manages to evade this, and the Fae forces in this world let Saoirse know that she can free her brothers of this spell, but she has to make a shirt for each of them out of stinging nettles, essentially, and she cannot talk at all. She cannot utter a sound. She cannot say anything for the entirety of while she is making these shirts. So I think one of the things that has always amazed me so much about her writing is how engaging and captivating these worlds are, and this story is with a main character who essentially can't say anything, and just the ways that she communicates with people, and she also can't go home because I would let the sorceress know that she managed to escape the magic. So she's like living in the woods and trying to do this, and of course lots of things happen, and but all throughout she is like bound and determined that she is going to make these shirts. And it's a really beautiful story. I will say there is a content warning for this. There is a rape in this, just so it definitely affects her and is part of the story, so it's not like gratuitous but it does happen. But at any rate, so pretty much all of Juliet Marillier's stories take place in this sort of magical, mythical Ireland, and it's gorgeous writing, and if you love fantasy, you've really got to give her a try. Alright, on to one of my other great loves. I love food, and I love cooking, and I love Ina Garten. I have all of her cookbooks. I've cooked from all of her cookbooks. I haven't cooked everything in every cookbook. There's a lot of recipes, but this is her most recent one, Modern Comfort Food. She likes to have sort of themes to her cookbook, so comfort food obviously is this one. This came out just last year at a time where we really needed some comfort food. And one of her sort of signature things is that she doesn't, some of her recipes are more complicated, but typically speaking, her recipes aren't super complicated. She tries to avoid recipes that have really specific ingredients, and if they do, she'll often suggest, you can use this thing instead. But her main thing is that, recipes shouldn't be too complicated. You should just really use good ingredients, really top quality ingredients is one of her mainstays, and how she talks about things. And her books are beautiful, and there's always great food photography, and it's, I love her. And I feel like she also does a really great job in walking you through every step of a recipe. I have never completely messed up one of her recipes. Everything is always, everything I've ever cooked from her has turned out pretty well, which I didn't fully appreciate until the pandemic, when I started, trying to okay, I'll try some of these other, doing a lot of cooking, trying to cook from other cookbooks, and realizing but you didn't tell me this, and you didn't tell me that, and and just kind of, I felt in the dark with some other recipes, where it's but I don't, Ina always tells me exactly what I need to do, and tells me what it should be looking like. So, Ina Garten has great cookbooks, so if you enjoy cooking and have not ever cooked from one of her recipes, give it a try. Alright, and last, and most certainly not least, one of my perhaps my favorite author of all time is Terry Pratchett. I adore Terry Pratchett. When in 2015, when someone in Shipping and Receiving called me and told me that he had died, I had to like go to the bathroom and cry for like 10 minutes. Like, I was devastated. And this is one of my most prized possessions. He came to Boulder Bookstore for a signing in 2006, very shortly after I had started, for this book, for Wintersmith. So this is my signed, personalized copy from Terry Pratchett himself. And if you're unfamiliar with Terry Pratchett, the majority of the books that he is known for are written in what's called the Discworld, and it's satire fantasy. So the Discworld is a flat planet that is on the back of 4 elephants that are standing on a giant turtle that's swimming through space. So, I mean, it's very he's very intentional in sort of these, like, kind of, it's like he's taking these ideas from all sorts of different world religions and cultures and ideas, and a lot of there's sort of different groups of people who are doing things on the Discworld that he writes books about. There's the witches, who tend to live in the countryside, the wizards, who are in the university in the main city of Ankh-Morpork, which is like sort of a mix between New York City and London in like the 1800s. And there's the City Watch, with the basically like the police, the murder mystery novels that are like set in Ankh-Morpork. And there's Death, who is one of the main, a pretty major character throughout. I think he appears in almost every book. But one of the things that I love the most about the Discworld is that story is very important, and things follow stories. And a lot of what the characters in all of the books are doing are trying to change the story to be more equitable, or fit into the story so that they can change it from the inside and make it different, make it better. And then another main characteristic of the Discworld is that things exist because people believe in them. So for instance, Death is one of the main characters because everyone believes in Death, and everyone has this idea of what Death looks like, and so that's what he looks like. He's a big skeleton with a scythe and a robe. But he also really, because he exists and is around people all the time, he's got a lot of personality. Like, he really likes kittens, and he really wants to get the hang of gardening, and these. So it's very fun and quirky, and they're books with a lot of heart that'll make you laugh. And you feel a lot of Terry Pratchett's anger at the injustices of the world and wanting to make them right. And Terry Pratchett is great. If you've never read a Discworld, you could pretty much almost pick up any book, because except for the first 2 books, they're almost all self-contained. But if you read them all, you will see a lot of the characters in different places. You will see there is a time progression. So there's certain earlier books don't have some of the technology that's in later books. They have cameras that have little imps in them that just draw really fast, And it's delightful, it's fun, it's great. And that is it for me. So happy birthday to me. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what we're doing here, we'd really love it if you would subscribe. And if you like the video, please like it and tell your friends to watch it too. All right, that's it. Bye.